I want to bring in Democratic Governor of New Mexico, Michelle Lujan Grisham. It's good to see you, Governor. So I guess the Trump Vance team sees available voters there. Should this trip be a red flag to the Harris campaign?
I don't think it should be a red flag. I think it should be treated as we treat all of the confusing, hateful, strange, weird decisions made by this particular campaign. I have no doubt that the candidate of chaos is going to try to create more chaos and controversy in all the Western states. And I would expect that, he's going to try to push hard on fear mongering for immigration. And I want to remind New Mexicans, and I will, and I'm doing it right now, and Americans, he's had multiple chances to solve problems, to really lean in for America, to do the right security work. He's for himself. He just wants a political issue. Vice President Harris has made really clear where she is on the border, and she's ready to get a bipartisan immigration solution over the finish line, which is exactly what this country needs. So I'm confused by his strategy, but it's more of Donald Trump.
Your state has the largest percentage of Hispanic residents. And obviously, as you know, that's a key demographic that Kamala Harris needs and has been courting. A new CNN poll has her within the margin of error, up by 1 in Nevada. But back in 2020, Joe Biden won those voters by 26. Do you sense she's underperforming, and why?
Well, the debate about underperforming with so many male voters in particular, not the least of which, as you pointed out, is looking at numbers that appear to have an underperformance component for Latino or Hispanic voters. Look, they're getting to know her. Everyone is feeling still a bit anxious post-COVID and about the economy. She is the only candidate leaning in, saying, look, we're going to save you at least $4,000 a year. We're going to reduce everything from healthcare costs and prices to energy prices. We're going to invest in small businesses, and we're going to reduce taxes. Here's a state that has done all of those things, invested in middle American, middle New Mexico families, while providing middle-class families significant tax breaks. So I know this can be done. I know it should be done. He's only about himself. He has made it really clear. He is a bigot. He's prejudiced. He's divisive. He wants to create anger and competition. That is not welcome rhetoric in this state. And I hope that Hispanic voters all across the country perform like Hispanic voters I expect to perform in New Mexico, which is lean in to effective policy that's all about their families and their opportunities, and not the reverse of that.
Your argument is very similar to what Kamala Harris has made herself, but there are even supporters of hers who have suggested, when you see how tight this race is, in spite of the amount of money spent, in spite of the controversial comments that Donald Trump has made, maybe a product of how short this race has been and how little time she's really had to introduce herself to the American public. Does that make you a little nervous? Do you think there are people out there, in spite of what she says, you say, and so many of her supporters get out and talk about creating the differences between a Harris presidency and a Trump presidency, that there just hasn't been enough time?
Well, I'm not nervous about that, but I appreciate the honesty and integrity of the Harris campaign and of the vice president herself. She's the underdog. It was going to be a tight race in only 100 days. We've never seen that in modern American history. She's working for every single American vote. She's planning and investing in a number of productive strategies. It's a lot, and she's making a difference. And I will tell you, when she talks about unifying the country and doubling down on making sure that women, me, my daughters, my granddaughter, are very clear about our fundamental freedoms. This last remark by the former president, that I'm going to protect women whether they like it or not, it's menacing. And it's not just about reproductive freedoms, at least for me as a voter. I see that as having much darker consequences. Women are dying. Infant mortality is on the rise. She is clear about getting on the campaign trail and making these issues relevant to every voter, because they are relevant to every voter, and he is doing the opposite. So it's going to be a close race. She was always the underdog. I think she has run a stunning campaign. She is strong. She is clear. She is ready. She has a plan for America. She has a to-do list. He has an enemies list.